Welcome to Pardon My Imagination. I'm Imagination and you're the Imaginers. Welcome if this is your first time. My name is Jesmyn and welcome back if this is your second or third or however many times you find yourself on my channel. Welcome. Today, as you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to be going over my December TBR. This is the last home stretch. And I actually am not going to be reading after probably like the 25th. Just because I have a ton of things that I want to get finished and I want to get revamped for, you know, the new year. And I just kind of want to go into the new year fresh. So I probably won't be reading past the 25th, which is totally fine. If you hear my kids laughing in the background, they are up right now. It's totally cool. So yes, there's that. But yes, let's just get into the TBR. Alright, the first book that I'm going to try to read is The Toll by Shusterman. And I know this, I'm holding up Scythe, but this is the first book. The Toll is the last book in the series, as far as I'm tracking. Yes, it's the last book in the series. I really have enjoyed this one. I enjoyed Thunderhead, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. That fucking cliffhanger at the end of Thunderhead, had me like, whoo, I really need to read it. But if you don't know what Scythe is about, Scythe is pretty much following this world where there's no more mortality. Everyone is pretty much immortal. Wow, immortal? Immortal. Yes. So they are, how do I put this? There is pretty much this Thunderhead. Like, imagine the cloud of internet that can see everything, knows everything, pretty much runs everything. They run all the law, and he's the be-all, know-all. And he pretty much oversees the society. He makes everything running smoothly. But because people do not die anymore, they have what's called the Scythedom. And the Scythedom is where they are actually the ones that choose the people that are going to die, and it's called gleaming. They have a quota, essentially, obviously, because population is always growing. They can't discriminate and things like that. Well, things don't always go as planned. So this is following one of the Scythes who takes on two apprentices to become Scythes, and it's following their journey. Things happen, and that's all I'm gonna say there. I don't want to give you too much of the book, but just know that it's a very interesting take on something having complete control and power, not even having to work because you don't need to work anymore, having everything handed to you, and it's quite interesting actually. So I would definitely check this series out. I can't wait to finish it out. So yeah. Okay, so the next book I plan on reading is The Crying Rocks by Janet Taylor Lisle. I don't know if you can see that. It's a really beautiful cover. And this book is following a girl named Joelle who pretty much is one of the only different kids in the town, and she knows that she's adopted, and the story that she was told, she just feels like it isn't her story, and she wants to find out exactly where she came from, who she is, and things like that. And then there's a boy in her class named Carlos who actually says that she reminds him of the Indians. I can't say this right. It's Narragansett. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm gonna have it spelled right here because I actually can't say it. Indians, so indigenous Indians, obviously. And yeah, so he says like, hey, you remind me of these Indians from this place called the Crying Rock. And then they go and set out to find this area, this why can I not word today? But yeah, essentially they go out into this forest and they go on an adventure together to find things about themselves and to unbury some things that they have tried to, keep hidden. So yeah, that's all I really know about it. Other than that, I don't really know much. And if you have read this, let me know down in the comments below. Alright, so the next book is Britt-Marie Was Here by Fredrik Backman. I honestly have no idea what this is about. I just know that it's Fredrik Backman, and I'm trying to get through all of his works. I just picked this up if you didn't watch my haul video, or maybe it's not posted yet. It should be posted by the time this video comes out. I don't know. I'm mass recording, as you can tell from my outfit. You know what I'm saying? But yes. So this book is following a woman named Britt-Marie, and that's kind of all I know. I did read A Man Called Ove by him as well, and it was just about an old man. So I'm assuming that it's just about, you know, a little old woman. And I'm going to read it, and I'm probably going to love it and give it 5 stars. So I feel like that's all you need to know, and just watch my wrap up. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to be reading is Men We Reaped by Jessica Ward. And as far as I know, this book is about, pretty much it's a memoir about Jessica Warga. And it's about 5 men in her life that she lost, and it's following her in her hometown. That's kind of all I know about it. I don't really know much more. I don't really read memoirs, but I heard really good things about this story, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to be reading is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. And this book is following a siren named Princess Lyra. And Princess Lyra pretty much is one of the most lethal sirens of all. And she actually ends up killing one of her own, and then her mother ends up punishing her by turning her into a human. And in order to be turned back into a siren, she has to pretty much deliver the prince. Yes, she has to deliver the prince's heart pretty much on a golden platter before the winter solstice, or she is going to remain a human forever. That is all that I really know about it. That's all I want to know about it. I've heard pretty good things about this. But yeah, I know she has another book coming out next year. So I just want to see, hey, do I want to invest in that, or do I really enjoy this author? Okay, so the next book that I want to read is Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. And this book is following a girl named Jade. And Jade feels like she has to be successful, and she really wants to get out of the poor neighborhood that she is living in, and she is following her mother's advice, where she is, you know, taking every opportunity that is given to her. So she is actually given this opportunity to go on I believe a mentorship program for women, or girls, women, same thing. And she pretty much goes to this program, and she just feels like, hey, I have potential. I have the knowledge and experience to help and teach other women, and that's kind of the journey that she is following. That's really all I know about it. I have been wanting to pick up Renee Watson. This will be my first Renee Watson. I do own a few of her other books, and I actually am excited to get to this. All right. So the next book that I want to read is Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert. This will be the second Brandy Colbert that I will be reading. I did read The Only Black Girl in Town by Brandy Colbert this year. And yeah, so this book is following a girl named Suzette. She is coming home to Los Angeles from boarding school in New England. Yes, in New England. She's coming back home, and she doesn't want to go back to boarding school. She really misses her home in LA, and she finds out that her brother has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and she wants to stay to be his emotional support. She wants to stay because her friends and family and her crush are also there. But plot twist, she ends up falling in love with the girl that her brother also falls in love with. So she is dealing with pretty much some more coming of age, and, you know, trying to help her brother with his new diagnosis and helping him through that and things like that. And that's kind of all I know. All I really want to know. I'm trying to pick up more contemporary, as you can tell by this TBR, because a lot of these books that I've talked about already are not books that I normally read, but they're on my shelf. I am trying to get through my physical TBR, so I'm going to pick it up. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to be reading, I'm going to have up right here, and it is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. And if you don't know what Grown is about, it's essentially following this girl, Enchanted Jones, who wants to be a star. She wants to be a famous singer. And she ends up finding this guy named Corey Fields, who is going to take her to fandom and stardom. And essentially, Corey ends up dead, and she doesn't know why. So it's kind of like a murder mystery, as well as some other things. I do believe that a lot of people were talking about there are trigger warnings for sexual assault and rape as well. So be wary if you're reading this. I do know Tiffany D. Jackson definitely hits on those, definitely those gray areas. She's really on the more darker side, and she's not afraid to talk about those. So be mindful if you do want to read this, if you have read it already. And I'm really excited to check this one out. Alright, the next book that I want to read is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. And this book is following two sisters that don't actually know that they are sisters. They find out that they are related, or they find out that they have another sister when their father ends up dying. And it's following their journey of first meeting each other and how they didn't know about each other and stuff like that. And that's kind of all I really know. I really enjoy Elizabeth Acevedo. I loved Poet X. I loved With the Fire on High. So I just cannot wait to get to her next book release. I think she has one coming out in 2021, but don't quote me. But yes, she's on auto buy for me, so I'm definitely going to be checking her out. Alright, the next book that I want to read is The Diviners by Libba Bray. And I don't really know what this book is about. I know it's following this character named Evie, who essentially gets casted out of her hometown, and she gets shipped off to New York City. It's 1926. The only downfall is that she has to live with her uncle, and her uncle is obsessed with the occult. She has some supernatural powers, and she realizes that she can use her powers for good when her uncle gets called onto a murder scene. And she realizes that she can use her powers to solve this case. That's kind of all I got from like the synopsis, so I don't really know much about it. B over at Bookish B, they actually got me this book last year for helping with the Sailor Moon-a-thon. I just haven't got to it, and I'm actually really excited to get to it now. So yes. Alright, next I want to read The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the fourth and final book in the Raven cycle. I always want to say that, no, it is the Raven. I don't know why I always want to say the Raven cycle. It's definitely the Raven Boys. I think the series is called the Raven Cycle, but don't quote me. But yes, if you didn't see my wrap up, I actually finished Blue Lily Lily Blue last month in November. So I want to finish this series because if you didn't see the video, I will have it linked up here. But I have it on my series to finish by 2020. And this is the last book that I need to read. I'm really enjoying it. And now that ending, I'm just like, whoa, I really need to know I just need to know. I just need to finish it. But if you don't know what the Raven Boys is about, it's essentially following this group of boys and one girl named Blue. It's really about Blue, but it's really about all of them. So it's kind of like, But it's following this girl named Blue, and she's just an ordinary girl who not really is ordinary. She comes from a family of psychics. And every psychic that has ever read her palm reading or whatever it is, I don't really know the name of it, told her that if she kisses her one true love or her first true love, he is going to die, or they are going to die. And yeah, she gets mixed up with this gang of boys that go to this private, like, rich ass school, and she doesn't really like them, but she gets mixed up in this crowd, and it's following a bunch of boys, Ronan, Adam, and Gansey. And Gansey is trying to find a sleeping king. It's definitely a whimsical, like, it's supernatural, it's whimsical, there's a touch of magic. It's not like Witches and Wizard and high fantasy magic. It's more of a whimsical, supernatural type of magic. So it's very interesting, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm just ready to see the ending. Also, adding on to that, I'm going to be reading Opal. It is a story of, I think it's following Adam and Ronan and Opal at the end of the Raven King. It's pretty much just a short story. So I'm also going to be reading that as well. And I don't really know what it's about because it is a short story, so I didn't really want to read the synopsis. I just know it's following those three characters. Alright, and lastly, but surely not least, I'm going to be reading The Queen of the Conquered by Kacen Callender. And this book is following a girl, I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm going to call her Rose because that's her last name. And Rose is the last surviving member of her family because her family was massacred by colonizers. And the king of the island is essentially going to be looking for his successor from the royal families. And this is where she is going to go and seek her revenge on the king or the royalties. So that's kind of all I know. That's all I need to know. I've really been wanting to get to this, especially because the second book is coming out in 2021. I'm really excited about it. I love the cover, and I honestly cannot wait to pick this up. All right, those are all the books that I'm going to be reading in December. There will probably be a little bit more or less depending on how my reading ends in November. I am recording this in November, by the way. But, you know, you got to plan ahead. Plan ahead, right? You know what I'm saying? So, yes, depending on how many books I read, my goal for the year is 150 books. So, if I didn't, you might see some graphic novels at the end of the month, but just stay tuned for that. But that is all that I have for you guys today. Be sure to check out my description where you can find easy ways to contact me, as well as all the books and all the channels that I talked about. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if not, just imagine that you didn't come back again. Until next time, keep imagining.